It was good, y'all. It's your boy JD6 here. I'm with my man. Shout out to KC Sports Authority. Make sure y'all go check that podcast out, man.
You heard the man. Can the Jayhawks hush the homecoming in Lubbock this weekend as they take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders and stun the top 10 Red Raiders? Let's get into it tonight. A live edition of the KCSA pod. Keegan Russell, JB Merker, and Austin Eckert here with you to talk some KU football because we've got a massive, massive road game this weekend against the 5-0 undefeated top 10 Texas Tech Red Raiders on their homecoming weekend. So we'll preview that game, get into some of the matchups, keys to the game, and hopefully give you guys some optimism as to how KU could keep this game close and possibly just sneak out with a massive upset. And then we're also going to talk a little bit of KU basketball tonight, as well as Bill Self continues the hot streak he is on the recruiting trail, picking up another 5-star, another 4-star 2026 recruit, 2027 recruit. And we'll talk a little bit about that. If you're new to the show, first off, thank you. Welcome. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, we are live on right now. So any of you, as you're watching along, be sure to be in the comment section. We'll throw up your comments tonight as we get into this game. I always appreciate our guy Bob, always waiting ready for us. Asked me last night on another podcast when we were going to do our game preview. So here we are. Al already getting us started with the JD6 Legacy game. Al, welcome in. I think we're going to pull off the upset Saturday, boys. 2K Mastermind, another loyal listener of ours, had some optimism for sure. So we'll get into all that. Make sure if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe button below here on YouTube. If you're on Twitter and you're somehow coming across this as a retweet from somebody else, give us a follow. We'd appreciate it. Help us continue to grow that side. We're not super active on Twitter, but we do like to engage with the audience over there, answer questions, get some of your guys' takes. And, of course, you can follow us on all of our social medias at KCSA Pod. Well, fellas, let's talk Texas Tech, Red Raiders. You know, Austin, your territory, and as everybody knows, you're I would say, 85, 90% KU, 10, 15% Tech fan still? Was that fair? Or is that too much? Is that too generous?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, KU always comes first. So, I mean, like, let's say KU and Tech are playing at the same time, but they're not playing against each other. I've got KU on the TV, or I'm at the game. So, like, I'm not paying attention to Tech. But when KU's not playing and when they're not playing against KU, I am paying attention to Tech. So, 15, 20%, I guess you could put me in that, percentage of how much I care about Texas Tech. But yeah, it definitely feels weird every single time these two teams meet because it's like, I've got one side of the family, all Red Raiders, and then the other, KU. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting. KU is only won in Lubbock once. Not very good. Texas Tech dominates this series. I think they have like 21 wins, and KU's only had 2. They had the last time they won in Lubbock was 24 years ago, back in 2001. That happened like a few weeks after I was born. I brought this up on the podcast a little while ago, but yeah, that's the last time we won in Lubbock. And then, of course,
been a long time.
You guys remember back in 2019 with how crazy that game was, the blocked field goal that KU ended up recovering off a fumble. It was supposed to be a lateral. I mean, that the ending to that game was crazy. But it's been 2 seasons since we played Texas Tech. The last time we played them was in Lawrence, and Tech won that game off of a game-winning field goal. Had to play Cole Ballard because Tech literally ripped Jason Bean's head off of his body. I mean, if you look at the picture as far as like the play where he got hurt because he got hurt in the head, I mean, the defender literally had him in a chokehold as he was going down. I mean, it was – yeah, so I hope KU gets, avenges that, for Jason. But yeah, I've had this game circled on the schedule for quite a while. And I knew coming in that this was going to be a tough game, regardless of how good or bad Texas Tech is. I was there last time KU played in Lubbock. And from what I remember, Jason Bean started the game. I think this was his final start before Jalen came back from his shoulder injury that he had against TCU. And it was really a back and forth game. And I remember the long 65-yard touchdown that we drew up on 4th and 1. Coach K drew it up perfectly, lobbed one down near side to Jared Casey. I mean, it was a beautiful play design. But KU was in that game. But the problem was the missed field goals, because I think KU had 2 that evening. And I don't think they had trouble protecting the ball either. They just couldn't capitalize on opportunities when Texas Tech wasn't driving the ball down the field, because they had a really good offense in 2022. I mean, they always have a good offense, but KU, that was a game KU should have won. And last year this team walked into Provo. Nobody thought that KU would walk in there and beat BYU. Top 10 team, night game, all this crap, but KU took care of business and they got the job done. And, all I have to say is, regardless of what I think is going to happen with the game, if KU can walk into Provo, a top 10 team and all that, then I think they can go into Lubbock and get a big win at the Jones. Obviously, two different teams, but still Coach Leipold leading the charge. I mean, KU's got to play their most flawless game. I think they'll have ever played under Lance. Like, they're going to have to play the most perfect game on all 3 sides of the ball. You turn the ball over and you give Texas Tech extra possessions, it's over.
Before we get into the preview of this, and I'll go through a bunch of Texas Tech stats and some of the keys and all that. JB, KU's a 14.5-point dog on the road against a top 10 team. So before we get into that, let's just do a quick vibe check with you. How are you feeling coming into this weekend after a close UCF game where we had to grind it out to the very end, coming off of the disappointing Cincinnati game? How are you kind of feeling with where things are sitting heading into this big matchup this weekend?
The vibes, I can't say are immaculate. They're really not. Shout out Remy Martin. You know what? I feel like going into this game, it's odd. I feel like with any KU game this year, there's this sense of optimism that's kind of coming over me, but at least with how that UCF game started, man, we really got punched in the mouth at the beginning of that. And I was texting with my buddy Mitch, and we were like, dude, we're cooked. Like, we're done. This is it. This season's over. Lance can't manage a game anymore. Like, all of these things.
He still can't. Still can't.
He still can't. We were like, man, this is it, man. And then, of course, we came back. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how. I don't know how we came back into that game.
Bengali Kamara.
I guess that's.
I've said it all to everybody. When that man's on the field, the defense is different.
It really was.
Shout out to the JD Legacy game. We're winning. I've had a lot of people say that this week, that this is JD Legacy potential. Like, this game could define his entire career. And funny side note on that, I didn't realize this until I heard it on a different podcast today. I think it was on Locked On Jayhawks. Derek said that this is the first time in JD's career that he's actually going to play Texas Tech. All those other close games we've had, not on the field for, just when he was hurt.
Wow.
I haven't fact checked that, but that's kind of wild to think about, because JD's in his 6th season here.
He was supposed to play in 2022, but I think he just needed an extra week. I think he was on track to possibly come back against Tech that year, but I think it was like last minute that they were just like, okay, let's just have Jason play. So,
yeah, the outlook's still not looking all that great. I mean, I would love to have my shining moment on this podcast where I turn on the optimism light, boom, straight into the camera, and just be like, we're winning this game, we're winning this game, we're winning this game. I cannot say that. I really can't. Spoiler alert, I think we are going to lose. I really want to be a KU homer, but I don't want this to get clipped by Texas Tech fans on Twitter and them laugh at me and laugh at this podcast and say, wow, these guys suck because they're so unrealistic. I want to be somewhat realistic. The vibes aren't immaculate going into this game. However, that doesn't mean that there's no hope for Kansas, right? There's always hope. And to the point of JD never getting his shot against Texas Tech. I think that's absolutely a time for us to shine. And I want to say that JD has a good game. I want to say that he takes a look at some of the shortcomings early on in the UCF game. He's probably looking at plenty of film, and I think this is his chance, to right the ship and kind of get us back into that mode of, man, look how we manhandled West Virginia. Look how we dominated, especially defensively, against UCF in the second half. Why not put that together into one game and win? Why not? It's absolutely possible, and I don't know if I see it, but to Austin's point earlier, yes, it would essentially require a masterclass, 100% effort, A+ effort from everybody on both ends of the ball.
Absolutely. So we'll get into the preview here. Nope, not Royal Season recap. Oops. That
We ain't
one's not
talking
supposed to
about
pop up. If you want to see the Royal Season recap, you can go back and check that out. Christopher and I did that last week. Not many of you have watched it, which I totally understand. Not huge Royals people out here. But would love for you guys to go check it out. We have some fun off-season stuff coming up for that, talking about who the Royals could go get in the off-season to make this team better, and push deep into the playoffs and the potential World Series. But Kansas versus Texas Tech preview. We'll get into some of this. Got a lot of stats to throw at you guys, some talking points of the game. Want to start with this, though. Kansas, 14.5-point underdog. Big time underdog.
Big yikes.
Didn't do a deep dive into this, but since Lance Leipold has been the coach, here's a couple of games that KU was massive underdogs where they still covered the spread.
Look at the comments. Bring it up.
I haven't even looked at him yet.
Look at Adam Sullivan.
Yeah, Sully still remembers that from back in spring training. That was great. That was so much fun.
Shout out to when I looked up
JB buying tickets for spring traiing baseball, thinking he was going to Kansas City.
Yeah, it was all the way in Arizona, and I'm an idiot. I was like, I didn't I call somebody, and I was like, how does the parking situation work during preseason?
Dude, I think you figured it out mid-episode. I don't remember. But anyway, Kansas has a big-time dog. We all remember 2021, November 13th. KU was a 31-point dog at Texas, where not only did we cover the spread, but we actually beat them, believe it or not, 57-56 in the wild overtime thriller that really kicked off the Lance Leipold era of Kansas football. Also that same year against Oklahoma, we were a 38.5-point dog, only lost by 12.
Wow.
Same year we were 2023 we were an 8.5-point dog to Oklahoma as well, and that was the one we won outright at home. Where's the other one I had on here? There was another time we were like a 23-point underdog and we lost by like 17. Point being that even if we do lose this game, 14.5 points does seem like a lot for a Kansas team that, in this situation of recent memory, the way they fight, it feels like this game's going to be a fight. And I was saying to you guys off air, and I said it to a few people earlier in the week, this to me has very similar feel of the KU Mizzou game. I think Tech's better team, both sides of the ball, but just the back and forth, the way this game might go, it feels like it's a game that KU could play much closer than a 14.5-point spread. But why is it a 14.5-point spread? Let's get into that. Slowly, I think we lose Saturday, but it'll be a game. Lance has game planned really well in these massive games. Yep, to my point there. When KU's a big underdog, they tend to show up. Now, for whatever reason, they don't always show up when it's the other scenario, but let's get into it. Texas Tech, the number 3rd ranked offense in the country in scoring 44 points per game. It's a lot. They average 537.5 yards per game, which also puts them 3rd in the country. They average a little over 6.5 yards per play, puts them top 20 in the country. They are top 10 in 3rd down conversions at 52.38%. 4th down, not as good as most people expect. Red zone scoring, they score on almost 91% of the red zone opportunities. I don't know how many of those, I did quickly check to see how many of those are field goals versus touchdowns, but they score almost every single time they're in the red zone. That's top 40 in the country. Rushing offensively, they rush about half the time, about 52% of the time, which is top 67 in the country. Top 70 when yards per rush, top 20 in rush attempts per game. So they like to run the ball a lot, and they average about 170 yards per game on the ground. Passing, they are a top 20 completion percentage team at just under 70%, puts them at number 18. They average about 10 yards per pass, which is top 10 in the country. Pass attempts, they also throw it a lot, 38 attempts per game, which is 15th in the country. And they average nearly 368 passing yards per game, which is number 2 in the country. They are very good at not turning the ball over through the air. They are a low interception team. They are a low quarterback sack rate. Offensive line is really good. So they don't really put their offense in positions to struggle is the point here. Really, really good on that side of the ball. It's going to pose a lot of threats for KU. KU secondary has been dinged up. It's been a little bit rough here and there. The point is Texas Tech scores a lot. They run a ton of plays, and they maintain really great pace throughout the game because of their ability to run the ball effectively. So far offensively, KU's already up against really, really, really tough opponent. Turnover battle. Texas Tech is top 10 in the country in turnover margin per game. They, on average, get a turnover more than they turn the ball over themselves. So they are plus in the turnover category almost every single game. And at the rate they are doing it, they are top 10 in the country. They are number 1 in the country in takeaways per game. They average 2.8 takeaways per game defensively. So they force a lot of turnovers. One area, though, that KU could get some help in, though, is Texas Tech is one of the most penalized teams in the country, especially at home where they like to do the ridiculous tortilla toss. And Austin, I don't know if you have any insight you can shed on that from any of your time down there, but what is the history of the tortilla tossing? Where did it come from? Why is it? And why do they keep doing it, knowing that their team gets penalties for it now?
You kind of put me on the spot there about the tortilla part / history, because I really don't know the entire backstory to it, but I know it's been a long-standing tradition for a while at Texas Tech football games, and I just think they've really made it important over the last recent years. And I just worry about the safety for all the players out there, because you never know. I mean, people might be throwing more than a tortilla. They might be wrapping something up in one of those tortillas like a burrito, and boom, could be a battery, could be a beer bottle, it could be any of those things. I mean, and I bring that up because that stuff's actually happened, and I've heard about it. It's Tech fans are crazy. They really are, and it doesn't mean I'm crazy. I mean, I became a Jayhawk, and you know what? It was the best decision I've made for myself. I don't regret going to KU. I really don't. And I've had some people this week, oh, you hate your own family because you went to KU over Texas Tech. Oh, you were born across the street from campus. Yeah, I brought that up like a couple of days ago, because I can't just completely abandon Texas Tech, because I like KU now, but I mean, it's part of my life. It was a big part of my life. But going back to the tortillas, though, yeah, I mean, and then they had it was like the unanimous vote or whatever on like what should happen if like people throw objects on the field and stuff like that. And Texas Tech was like the only school out of all 16 to vote like no, like don't impose that rule, because that's what they do. But yeah, I mean, the tortillas down in Lubbock though are pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of really good Tex-Mex spots, a lot of really good authentic Mexican restaurants. I mean, Lubbock's known for their food, so I mean, to see tortillas flying from the stands, I mean, it just kind of all adds up together. So
that's a wild tradition, if you want to call it. It's just something you don't see around college athletics. Very, very frowned upon. But yeah, it's the Big 12 had to come together last year and decide to start to start dishing out penalties to Texas Tech on behalf of the fans once they hit a certain number of times that they have to comment about it. But yeah, that's wild. But anyway, back to the Tech stats, and Bob threw this out there, and of course I'm going to mention too. All that being said, they haven't played anybody. They've played Utah, top 25 team, top number 16 at the time, destroyed them. Not even close. Absolutely pummeled Utah. Utah could do nothing against this defense. But outside that, they really haven't played anybody. Looking at their schedule, they opened against Arkansas Pine Bluff 67-7, Kent State 62-14, Oregon State, who is not a good team at all, 45-14. And then I guess you could say their closest game was Houston 35-11, who Houston also not a good team in the Big 12. Couldn't do much against them. So have they really been tested that much? Who knows? But this is a defense that I would say is probably top 10 in the country. An offense that's clearly top 10 in the country statistically. They have every reason to be a 14.5 point favorite. So let's look at what they do defensively against opponents. Again, asterisk next to this because they haven't played anybody, only giving up 12.3 points per game. It's number 6 in the country. Only allowing 260 yards per game, which is top 10 in the country. Only allowing 4 yards per play, top 10 in the country. Holding opponents to just 24.5% on third downs, top 10 in the country. And holding opponents to 42% on fourth downs, top 40 in the country. And then red zone, they are only giving up scores on 75% of the red zone opportunities that they are found in, which is top 20 in the country. Again, I don't have the field goal versus touchdowns on there, but that'll be a key point for KU. If they get to the red zone, they have to score touchdowns to keep up. What else? They only give up 68.8 rushing yards per game, top 3 in the country. 2.4 yards per rush, top 5 in the country. Passing, holding opponents to under 55% completion percentage, very, very good. That's number 7 in the country. They are only giving up 5.7 yards per pass attempt, 12th in the country. Giving up less than 200 passing yards per game, top 40 in the country. And they are top 10 in the country in, like I said, in turnover battle, where opponents throw an interception on almost 5% of their throws, and they're sacked on almost 5% of their offensive play. So both sides of the ball, Texas Tech is a juggernaut. I said it on another podcast this week. This is an SEC caliber team. Defensively, offensively, Texas Tech has spent a ton of money on this roster, transfer portal, recruits, all that, to put together a star-studded team, both sides of the ball. So listening to that, before we get into keys to the game, very obvious to see how KU's a 14.5 point underdog on the road against a team like this. Out of what I said, was there anything that stood out to you guys the most, or anything that really scares you about this Tech team that's going to have us sitting here Saturday night going, holy cow?
I think 2 things for me. One, we've been seeing, I guess, for lack of a better term, a breakout by Le'Shawn Williams, and the dude is a stud. But can he actually do anything against this defense? I don't know. I think he's been our best player the last, game and a half, and he has probably his toughest obstacle ahead of him going into this game. And it's really scary when you think about, gosh, JD, he hasn't really, yes, he has obviously had great games before. He had an amazing game just earlier in the season, passing for 5 touchdowns. He's our best player, but Williams has been right there with him. You take one of those pieces away, and it's like, oh, shoot. We just talked about how earlier we need to be firing on all cylinders. We need to be, A+, 100% effort from every single one of our guys, and they all need to have an A+ game, and I don't know if that's going to happen based off of that run defense. The other thing that really stands out is the red zone percentage of success that they have. It's a little scary to think about. I mean, certainly when you look at that percentage and you know that some of those are field goals, then that's always going to bring the percentage up. But
Sure. But yeah, if they're getting to the red zone, they are scoring. That's
if they're and we are not all the time, are we?
yeah, we've seen that. I don't see if let me go back to those stats in there. KU in the red zone. I have to go. I'll pull that up while you're talking about. But KU has struggled in the red zone.
We've struggled in the red zone, almost parallel to the Chiefs struggling in the red zone too.
I've said that how similar these two teams are right now.
So weird.
Oh my god,
so weird. Like I have to. As you're reading off these stats, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, is that a Chiefs stat that I'm thinking, or is that a Kansas
my
stat?
gosh! Oh, this hurts.
What?
Take a guess at what you think KU's.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, but KU's red zone scoring, not as bad as you would think, but they're scoring on 79%, so just above what Texas Tech gives up. KU's less than 30% on third downs. That's the one that just popped out to me looking at that.
Oh boy,
that's rough.
So first and second downs, let's make sure that we're doing fantastic, JD, and yeah, let's make sure we execute when we're in the red zone because we're going to need it if we're going to win this game. Obviously, you can say that about any game. It's just, man, it can't be understated how we have to have zero mistakes. We can't take all the penalties that the Chiefs got in the game just the other night. So. Yeah, just drawing another parallel to those teams.
Yeah. Can't shoot yourself in the foot in this one against the Red Raiders.
Yeah.
Guns down. Austin, let me ask you this. Those stats I gave you, again, very alarming at how statistically good, excellent Texas Tech is. How much do you buy that being legitimate, or how much of that you think is the lack of competition they've played?
I think a large part of it is the lack of competition. I mean, Utah's the best team that they've played so far. I mean, Tech's about to play the best quarterback that they've played all season long yet, in my opinion. Jalen's been playing a lot better than the Utah quarterback, and this is the best start that he's had to the season. However, when I watched that Utah game, I mean, it was clear to me that this defense for Texas Tech was different. I do think that they are legitimate. However, they need to play a little bit more competition to really, back up the fact that they are, a top 10 defense in the entire country and things of that nature. And I think KU, you could also argue that this could be the best offense Tech has gone up against yet so far as well.
I would agree. Yeah, KU on the flip side there, KU right now is top 40 in the country in points per game, top 50 in the country in yards per game. So they're not like a tremendously great offense, but they're up there. They're top 10 in the country in points per play, top 15 in the country in yards per play, top 25 in the country on fourth down. KU is top 10 in the country in yards per pass. I'm trying to pull out some that help. So not great when it comes to offense compared to Texas Tech, but KU is certainly one of the better ones. KU's top 20 in the country in the turnover margin, just like Texas Tech. So KU does not turn the ball over much. They also force turnovers. KU is top 10 in the country in least amount of giveaways. So KU does play pretty disciplined with the ball and control there. But yeah, I agree with you. This is the best offense Tech's going to go up against. And even though despite the flaws this defense has, this is probably the best defense I think they'll also go up against too. Again, just the way the schedule plays. Most athletic defense I think they'll have gone up against too. But still a daunting challenge against this Tech team who, again, like I said, both sides of the ball, both sides of the line of scrimmage, they have some serious dudes. So, like, if I could take anything away from the Utah game, is Utah, despite the fact they weren't having that much success running the ball, they continued to run the ball, and they got 31 carries for 101 yards, a little over 3 yards per attempt. A lot of teams would have just given up trying to run the ball and would have started slinging it around to try and catch back up. And Utah, to their credit, kept trying to stick theirs. Like, to me, that's where I look at part of this game is how much of the ground game can KU control. Can they have momentum? Can they change the pace? Get Texas Tech off the field by them staying on the field longer. We talked about a couple weeks ago. It was electric that KU had the 94-yard kick return, the 75-yard play to Emmanuel Henderson, all that kind of stuff. But then your defense is right back out there because you're not either sustaining drives or your drives aren't going for longevity. So, like, I look at this game and so can KU have 6 to 10 play drives that take up 4 to 6 minutes off the clock? Can LeSean Williams get 20 carries this game? Can the running as a whole be 30 plus carries? Slow the game down, grind it out. Even if you're only getting 3 yards of play, you average just over 3 yards of play. You can get first downs like that, sustain drives. And what I'm afraid of is this game becomes a shootout. And I think in a shootout, Red Raider style, I think their offense can do more damage against our defense in that kind of game than KU's offense will do against theirs. So I think that's kind of what I'm seeing is the ground game, the running attack from Kansas could play to the advantage, despite the fact that Tech still has probably the second best line that they'll see all year, if not the best line they'll see all year. If KU can control the round game, get some chunk plays there, find some holes, and slow down the game, I think KU is much better off having a chance at even winning this game if they can keep the scores under 35. But if they get into a shootout, I think it's over. Al's already said it's probably going to be a shootout. I think the writing's on the wall for that to happen, the way these two teams play. KU's not a slow it down, grind you out kind of game. They want to play up tempo. They want to play fast. They want to have explosive plays. But I think if we get into that shootout, Tech could run away with it.
It's just sad. Not looking too good.
So 14.5 points. Let's find some optimism here. 14.5 point spread. How can KU, what do you guys see that KU could do to keep this game close, to find any sort of advantage to keep this competitive? And of course, Highshaw is probably also going to be out for this game as well.
Yep.
And what else is new?
Who knows if he even comes back? Like, if again, crush for Highshaw because he just cannot stay healthy at all. And then Deshaun Hanika, of course, also going out for the rest of the year. Knee injury, had surgery. Another guy you're just crushed for. Now, thankfully, the tight end group has been relatively deep. Bowden Gruen had a tremendous game last week. Kind of became a go-to for Jalen in some tight spots there. And then Carson Bruin we're going to see a lot of, and a little bit of Leighton here. So still feel good about the tight end room. But, yeah, crush for both those guys with their injuries.
Yeah, I think Bob put it in the comments a little ways up, but Henderson was mentioned. And, I don't know. I feel like a big game from Henderson is going to be how we win this game. Not only do we need a big game from him, obviously the connection with JD, we need the deep ball thrown, and we need it thrown accurately. I don't know how else you beat a team like this other than taking some major shots downfield and seeing if something sticks. I mean, I'm not saying you got to treat every play like a Hail Mary, but, man, sometimes you have to. And I'd be interested to see what sort of interesting calls or situations come about throughout the game where does Lance take a little bit more risk than we've been keen to seeing him take thus far. You know, he's been a little timid at times. He's been critiqued for his game management in the 2-minute drill many times, not only on this podcast, but in friend groups, on Twitter, everybody. I mean, I would love to see, I almost want to see him sweat a little bit in the 2-minute drill just to see if he kind of gets his head out of where and makes a call. It makes a call, makes something happen to where we can look and see, okay, KU's not afraid to take some shots and do what's necessary to win this game.
Yeah, it takes me back to that Cincinnati game. I think they had I want to say a 4th and 2 on plus side of the field, and they punted it back because they had the 3 timeout and the 2-minute warning. And, looking back, you would like to think you want to put the ball in the hands of your best playmaker and let Jalen go get you 6.5 feet.
Yeah, there's absolutely a play out there. Thank you, Bob, for pointing it out. Yeah, it's fourth down conversions, man.
Which KU is really good at. I think, like I said, KU on fourth down conversions, they are top 25 in the country when it comes to that.
I think if you're top 25 in the country at fourth downs, you go for it every time. I don't care if that percentage goes down. I don't care if that ranking nationally goes down. I mean, you go for it on fourth down if you're that good. I would trust in our offense enough to get us 2-3 yards if we really needed it, if it was really in crunch time, and if we knew that we needed to just extend the game and maintain that possession at the very least, even if we didn't have to score on that possession, just to wind the clock down. These are little things that win football games that clearly Kansas has struggled with like over the years and with Lance. And I would love to see us kind of tighten that up a little bit, but it can be done. But I don't know how optimistic I feel about it happening in this particular game against such a great opponent.
Yeah, traditionally speaking, this is a game where Kansas goes in as a 14.5 dog and gets blown out by 30 plus. Which I don't think we're going to see that. One thing that I don't know if it's being talked about enough is, yes, this is homecoming for Texas Tech, which is always a big game. Crowd's going to be juiced up, excited. Tech hasn't played a home game in almost a month, so they've been away from home for a while. Could be an advantage because they'll be all jacked up and excited. A lot of teams come out over energized and make some mistakes because of the energy. So, like, I could see this game
us now.
I could see this starting out Tech's up at like 17-3, and then second quarter, third quarter they start to make mistakes. Because KU's not going to give up; they'll keep fighting, come back and keep this thing interesting. But I can see that where, as excited and energized as they are being away from home for 4 weeks, they haven't played in front of the home crowd. You have a lot of guys on this roster that have barely even seen a home game in Tech. So maybe that does something where KU could come out, and especially if KU comes out and punches them in the mouth first, like we get the ball opening kickoff and go down and score a touchdown, you could take a lot of juice out of the crowd early on and control the narrative. But Austin, are there any keys to this game you have, or any areas of the field you think KU, whether they have the advantage or not, needs to obviously outperform Tech in to keep this thing close or pull off the win?
Well, I think when you look at both sides of the ball, and I'm going to start with the defense, we shut out UCF in the second half and we didn't allow any yards of offense in the third quarter. It was actually -1 yard. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, when's the last time KU's done anything like that?
Did we decide it was 7 straight drives of a 3 and out, or not a 3 and out? Yeah, it's a 3 and out.
Yeah, I mean,
seven straight drives without giving up points.
Without a score, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, look, Bengali Kamara is not going to be out for the first half of this game. So I think if, he can get some tackles and really get the defense going, I think they can create some noise on Saturday. And it's you can't give these receivers a whole lot of space. I feel like that's why we lost to Cincinnati. I feel like our defensive backs gave the Cincinnati wide receivers way too much space while lining up at the line of scrimmage. It just seemed like Cincinnati had like 5 free yards for their receivers to run their routes and do what they're supposed to do. And that's what Sorsby did. He had all these quick throws out wide or over the middle for like 5 yards because our defense is standing way too far back in coverage. I mean, you can't do that against Texas Tech, because that's what Texas Tech's really good at, is creating that separation, for the wide receivers to make some plays. And you can't do that against Texas Tech. I mean, you simply can't. So doing that, is going to be a start. And then, when you look at the offense, you can't turn the ball over, obviously, right? And you're going to say that about every single game, but in games like this, you really cannot turn the ball over. Now, I don't know how we beat BYU, because we did turn the ball over in that game, but it was merely because of JD's punt, right? If it wasn't for JD's punt, we would have been talking a lot different about that game for sure. So offensively, Keegan, you said it. Like, if you can get the ball to start the game, if you do get the ball to start the game, you got to go score on your opening drive, because I don't know. I feel like if you don't score on your opening drive, It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Just don't shoot yourselves in the foot with drive-killing penalties, especially with holding calls. I feel like that was something that KU struggled in last week. I mean, KU just can't shoot themselves in the foot at all. I mean, that's why, over the
we
years,
seem to start off slow too often.
No slow start either. I mean, it's like KU is capable of going on the road now in these types of games and winning them. They are. It's not your father's Kansas football Jayhawks anymore, where they're just 0-12 and they suck every single game. Like these Jayhawks, they're now competing in every single game that they've played in under Lance. I mean, the first part of 2021, obviously, not. They were slowly, kind of getting into it, and then they finally beat Texas, and then, rest is history. But yeah, I mean, you got to get off to a fast start in this game if you want to have any chance. You can't turn the ball over, and I said it in the opening. You got to have your A+++ performance on all three sides of the ball. You really do. And honestly, guys, like, KU's got to get aggressive. They've got to get into the bag of tricks, and they got to do everything that they can on both sides to trick Texas Tech, because I feel like that's the only way they're going to win this game. There's no more of this conservative stuff where, we're punting and hoping that the defense gets a stop, but we don't. We give up a touchdown, lose to Missouri. You can't do that this weekend if you want to win.
So here's another crazy stat that while you guys were talking about that, I looked up and calculated, because Al, I think, spot on. Need to create turnovers.
Yeah.
One aspect of this game, both teams do well at not turning the ball over, but also creating turnovers. KU's going to have to find a way to create extra possessions to keep up, because get this, Texas Tech averages, again, bad competition, no good defense they played against. Texas Tech averages 82 offensive plays per game to Kansas's 58. Let that sink in. Almost 25 to 30 plays more per game Tech's offense is on the field than what we see currently from Kansas. If this defense is on the field for 80-plus plays, I don't care how good we looked in the second half against UCF, that's going to wear you down. So you got to create turnovers. You've got to get off the field on third and medium, third and long. You can't give up those first downs easily. And then offensively, you have to sustain drives. I don't think Kansas can win this game with the 6-play, 2.5-minute drive, because they hit a 45-yard bomb to Henderson down the field. Now, I would love to see that, because you'll still take points wherever you can get it, but KU's got to create that separation of plays per game has to get closer together, I think. Otherwise, we're in for a massive shootout, like was mentioned earlier, that I don't know if KU can keep up because of the defense they're going up against.
Score predictions?
Score prediction. Yeah, let's get into that. 14.5 point spread. I was going to see what the over-under is again. 58.5 is the over-under. So they have this game being lower scoring for a college football game. So in the mid-20s. And I get it, because both defenses, man, dude, I'm smashing the over on that. 58.5.
I feel like I would smash the over.
What was the KU Missouri score? Wasn't it like
42-31?
Yeah, 42-31. Yeah.
Wow, I
don't see this game playing in the 20s unless both teams turn the ball over or both defenses just slow each other down.
Oh, gosh, going into score predictions, I was kind of thinking more along the lines of like a 42-30.
So you don't have KU. You don't have KU any shot of KU winning this game, is what I'm hearing, right?
I think they can cover the spread, but I don't think that they can.
I think it's fair.
I think it's
this is a, like I said, daunting task this weekend. Let me ask you this before we get into score predictions. KU is essentially a game, half game out of the Big 12 standings. KU wins this game. They are front runner for Big 12 championship, assuming that one of BYU or Arizona State drops this weekend in some capacity. How does the season change at all? Like, does anything about the season change or your outlook change if KU goes in and loses this game? Or how much more can the season outlook change if KU pulls off the upset?
If we lose, It means nothing. It means nothing because I've already moved us back down to like a 7-5 type of season. It was 6-6, then it went all the way up to like 8-4, maybe even 9-3, and now it's back down to like a 7-5 season. And I think if we lose this game, it's still 7-5. I think if we win this game, man, I mean, we might just have to. Yikes! We might just have to reevaluate. It might be back to 8-4,
which is still a heck of a season, by the way.
Yeah, I don't. I
All
mean,
things
everyone
considered.
can get hot. I don't know. Like, obviously, it puts us in a good position to at least contend in the Big 12 race. I'd feel really good about our chances to make a bowl, obviously, at that point. But only needed one more win by that point. But yeah, this is a game I don't expect to win.
Dale, let me give it to you this way. Texas Tech's defense is so good that every single player on KU's roster that you could bet to score a touchdown is plus money.
That's awesome.
All right.
Dude.
Free money.
I've never placed a bet before in my life, a sports bet. I don't know if we've ever talked about that. I'm not a betting man.
We haven't talked about it on the show.
Well, I'm not a betting man, and but I did recently download Underdog and like one other app. Maybe I know it got Underdog and Sleeper.
Kansas defense plus 750 anytime touchdown.
Dude, I might have to put
Pick six?
something up.
Whoa.
I don't know about that.
You never know.
I might have to play some bets.
Cam Pickett game. Al, while you're saying that, Cam Pickett for 2 touchdowns plus 1,800. Book it. I like it. I love it. Bob says if KU can keep it close, then they certainly have a chance. Yeah, but obviously if KU can keep it close, they have a chance. I think it's how do we keep it close? Vegas rarely gets games wrong, but this just seems odd that the score totals are as low as they're suggesting. I think team totals, Kansas total points is listed at 21.5. Tech at 37.5. So they don't really. I mean, that's why this game isn't listed as close. They think Tech's just gonna boat race. I don't know. It's tough. I don't feel great in any of my predictions this week. I do think KU can cover. I think we are a gritty enough team. We play hard. We don't give up. We get knocked down. We find a way to get back up and fight back to at least keep this game interesting. Now, could that mean Tech, goes out in the fourth quarter, gets a turnover, scores, and then we're uphill from there and lose out, by 10, 11? Sure. But I do feel pretty good that KU keeps us under 2 touchdowns at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Austin?
I think so too. And this is not me rooting for Texas Tech because I am not rooting for Texas Tech, believe it or not, this weekend. I mean, my alma mater comes first. All right, so I just want to get that out there. As far as how I think this game's going to go, I've got Texas Tech winning, but I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm going to go 37-24 Tech. It's a 13-point win. I think KU barely covers the spread. I mean, the only way they make it close is if they get a turnover and, like I said, play their A+++ game.
See, I think KU could win without playing an A+ game. I think they just have to make Texas Tech play a C game, which is a lot to ask, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, Al said it. I think everyone said that this week. Covering plus 14.5 feels like free money. I agree. I'm not going to lie. I have one play where I'm going to tease it up to 17.5 and a parlay just to get a little bit of extra just in case. But 14.5, man, that's just a lot. I mean, this isn't a bad Kansas football team. KU has looked good. Even against stout defenses, they've still scored points.
Yeah.
But yeah, JB, you said it however long back now. KU has to score touchdowns in the red zone. You cannot be kicking field goals in this game to have a chance.
Keegan, what's your preferred app for sports betting.
I like FanDuel. Personally.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
Could be someday.
But it could be. Hey, FanDuel, hit us up.
We're looking for some sponsors. Hey, if anybody's watching and you want to be part of a show sponsorship, hit me up or hit us up on Twitter in our DMs. You know, we are looking to add some show sponsors, even just about anything. Let me know.
I've always
but no,
wanted
I like
ad read.
FanDuel. I do like DraftKings because you can get like rewards points and turn them into free money later. But I feel like FanDuel's parlay options are better, personally. But I'm also old school, so once I start using one thing, that's all I use.
There you go.
Yeah. Really quick, what do y'all think about Texas Tech's new logo for next season and beyond?
Oh my God.
Let me just say this real quick. Why? The logo was fine. I mean, listen, I like the Texas Tech throwback logos. I'm sure you two have seen them before. I mean, they're all
Pull
cool.
back up
But
again.
Texas Tech is so obsessed with their throwback uniforms and their throwback gear that they just had to do away what was literally perfect. And there was no, like, I understand, you know, it's like outdated or whatever.
You're talking about just changing
definitely
the
logo,
outline, to just red and white. It looks like
I don't like
to me.
it. I don't. I mean,
So-
it'll grow on me. But like to do away from the beveled logo, like no. Alex, I don't hate Tech. Be quiet. That's my
I guess I didn't give my
Oh,
prediction,
God.
my score prediction. I'm going to give 2.
Cheater.
I got to give if KU figures out how to win this game. If KU figures out how to win this game, it is 38-35 on a Lath Marjan field goal in overtime after KU's defense stops an aggressive Tech who, instead of kicking a field goal, goes for a touchdown.
when
Always
KU,
on the field goal.
KU beat Tech in overtime when they got their last win in Lubbock 24 years ago. So maybe we do need to go to overtime to beat them.
Could be. And then if KU loses, I still want to give the offense some credit. I'll go. What was your score, Austin? You said 37.
24. Yeah. That's a 37-24.
I'll go 34-23, which still covers.
Yeah.
Man.
Let's go back to
I
Yosemite
don't know.
Sam. Why isn't it a Red Raider as the actual logo? That'd be
Well,
way
I
too
mean,
early.
they've got there's a logo with like the masked rider riding on the horse. There's that. But I mean, there's a couple of Yosemite Sam looking logos. I mean, they are pretty cool. If KU beats Tech, I'm getting ready to talk our own.
Oh
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
okay. While
I mean-
we're on the quick subject, let me pull up what KU's odds are.
Oh, I don't know what they are.
Continue while I pull this up.
I have a question for Al, though, really quick. And Al, feel free to put this in the comments. Is it Al or is it AL? Or is AL like your initials, or are we just calling you Al and your name is like, I don't know.
All.
Maybe you're
Plus
Maybe-
3,000 to win the Big 12.
maybe your name is Anderson Levowitz. I don't know. But I do want to know. I try to be respectful of people's names. You'll never realize a lot of people leave out the H in John, which is my government name, as the kids like to say. Like, give me my H. It's Al, like Big Al. Thank you. All right, cool. We weren't saying it wrong this whole time. That's good. Sorry to cut you off, Austin. What were you?
Oh,
What were you talking
I forgot what I was going to say. I lost track.
Dude, if
Wow.
KU wins out,
My
can
bad.
Jalen be a Heisman finalist?
Ooh.
Is that
Potentially.
possible, you think?
I think the season changes drastically if KU beats Texas Tech, but if they don't, I mean, like, it is what it is. But good thing is for KU, though, regardless of how this game goes, they do get their second bye week after this game. So
Yeah,
they'll
that's
have,
huge.
That it is huge. But what's also not great
Because
about
you know
this
what's
week,
coming up after the bye week.
Kansas State also has a bye week next week. That's the bad part about this. So I just hope
K-State
that
2
we're ready to
weeks.
play.
Which
after
quick
the game.
teaser. 2 weeks from now, Wednesday night, the 22nd? Wednesday night, the 22nd, we'll do our KU K-State football preview. And we have a fantastic guest coming on, which I won't share yet.
Oh, come on.
But
People want to know.
He is a former KU football player that played during the Mangino era, who was a part of the last team to beat K-State. So one of the better players in that era too. So we do have a former KU football player coming on that night. So make sure you tune in because we will be live with him. You guys can ask him as many questions as you want, and we'll see how much we can get to. But looking forward to that. We'll talk about not just his time as a KU football player, but talk about the rivalry as a whole. But yeah, two weeks out from KU K-State. So KU's got the opportunity this weekend and then 2 weekends from now to put two huge wins in that win column and take control of the Big 12 for sure. Oh yeah, Allison. Yeah, K-State is bad off of bye weeks. We'll have that. I'll have that prepared for that. Is how has KU fared under Lance Leipold after bye weeks versus Chris Kleiman after bye weeks? Because K-State they have looked rough, which is good. Like to see it. How about we beat Texas Tech on the road and come back and beat K-State at home? But absolutely love that for sure.
Yes, please.
We could lose every other game the rest of the season. I don't care if we beat Tech and then K-State. That'd be
we would be bowl eligible after.
Yeah, we'd be bowl eligible.
We can lose the rest of the season. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Lose to Oklahoma State after beating Texas Tech and K-State.
Other thoughts on KU Texas Tech, because we do want to talk just a little KU basketball for those that want to stick around. We'll have a lot of KU basketball over the next week. We'll have a little bit of talk here in a minute about some recruiting. Monday night or Tuesday, I'll have another episode up talking some more about KU basketball recruiting and what Bill Self's doing. And then next Wednesday, so a week from now, we'll do our KU basketball season preview, also live. So between now and then, any questions, thoughts, things you want us to cover in that episode, questions you guys want to ask, feel free to send our way ahead of time. We will include it because late night is in a week, which means the start of the season's in like 3 weeks. So we're getting close, 3.5 weeks. But yeah, any other final thoughts on football before we switch gears?
JB, anything?
I'm just gonna say I know that we all predicted KU to lose this game, but it can't. I will cheer until I'm blue in the face for Kansas. Like we absolutely we expect to lose. Probably expect is the word, but man, do we believe we're gonna lose?
But at least we have expectations about how well we should play. Because previously it would have been, please don't get blown out 55-10.
I'm gonna end it with this here about Texas Tech. So back in March, Tech beats KU at Allen Fieldhouse, and it just so happened to be their second win ever at Allen Fieldhouse. And I mentioned earlier, KU has only won in Lubbock once. So wouldn't it be ultimate karma for the football team to get avenged for the basketball team and get their second win ever in Lubbock and serve possibly one of the best karmas, you'll see in college sports? I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm all for it.
And KU's going to beat Tech, okay? I just want to make that clear.
I hope they do.
I'm just going to remind you.
Because I have great headline for post-game reactions or post-game follow-up on what the headline could be if KU pulls off the upset. But we'll have to wait and see coming up this weekend. But yeah, let's switch gears and just spend a few minutes talking about KU basketball again. Bill Self on a ridiculous hot streak. We talked about a week and a half ago now. Talon Kinney signing being the big prize of the 2026 class. The number one point guard in that class, top 15 recruit, 5-star, one of the better. I'd say I haven't decided where my answers on this, how he compares with the signings of like Devon Dotson as a freshman point guard, because Dot was ranked pretty high. I think Kinney's ranked higher, but like how they compare.
Yeah.
So that was the first domino. Kenny then said that he already knew somebody else was coming along that weekend and had plans to get some other guys that weekend. Then KU gets a commitment from 4-star semi-local product out of Missouri in Trenton Perry, a wing forward type guy, long, athletic, plus size wingspan, super athletic, not really great at anything, but all around solid player. Has the makeup to be a really good role player over time, defensive presence, streaky shooter, needs to work on his mechanics a little bit, had to get a quicker release once he gets back to playing top tier talent. But he has the DNA makeup to be a versatile defensive player, slasher that KU could really benefit from for the next couple of years. So you get that, and then you also get the commitment of 4-star, could be 5-star by the end of this season. Center prospect Davion Adkins, 6'9", senior, also signing with Kansas. Similar frame to Flory Badunga, a lot of bounce, a lot of hop, super athletic, a little bit more polished, I think, than Flory is currently and was coming in as a freshman. Super high on Adkins. I think he's number 34 in his class, but could potentially jump. He's the third-ranked center in his class. And then he also gets a commit from Javon Bardwell, a 2027 top recruit, 5-star recruit, who is really old for a high school player because he's ahead of pace. So there's a good potential that he will reclassify to the 2026 class. Has a ways to go to get there for sure. But the way it has been said or put out there from his camp and from his high school, I think his high school coach said, or his AAU coach, one of the two, said, if things go as planned and he becomes eligible to reclassify, then that is the plan, is to reclassify for 2026. So KU would get another 5-star recruit, because I think even if he reclassifies to 2026, the way he would fall is still a top 15 recruit, if I'm not mistaken. So he would be the potential Tyron Stokes replacement, who doesn't look like he's getting now because of the signing with Nike. And a shout out to my guy Dustin on Twitter, because he sent this back to me. I haven't found an answer on this, Dustin, whether you're watching or not. I will get this answer eventually. But how many times a recruit has signed with Nike or Adidas, but then went to go play for a school that wasn't Nike or Adidas? No clue, but I do not think Tyron Stokes is coming. But Bill Self on a hot streak. I talked about another podcast this week about the difference, Bill, like the different style of players he's going after, and the significance of high school recruiting post NCAA infractions and that whole case. Now that's finally taken care of. Bill Self's on a heater. He's on a vengeance. I said on that, and JB said it last week that he's excited Bill looks better in that regard. But we also were really pumped about last year's incoming transfer portal class, 2 straight years, and it did not turn out well on the court. So, JB, I think you're still on the side if you want to see it happen on the court before you go full back into Bill is locked and loaded. But I think Bill is back. Bill is back, according to Bob. Fall Bill is back, is what you're saying. Fall Bill, spring. We've had spring Bill, now fall Bill is back. Bill Self-Revenge Tour. I would like that, but I'm super excited. I think he's going after guys that are speed, athleticism, length, versatility. Those 4 things, I think, is what he's really prioritized. If you look at Duke, if you look at Kentucky under Calipari, if you look at Texas over the last couple of years, the things that have hurt Kansas the most in matchups are speed, length, athleticism, versatility. Those are the 4 areas that KU has seemed to be outmatched in quite often. And you saw that in some of the guys they were going in recruiting. They were not getting the top tier athletes. They were not getting the fastest guys on the court. They were not getting the guys with the plus wingspan, the long arms. I think about going up against Texas before they went to the SEC. It was constantly trying to shoot over them. You couldn't get to the rim. You couldn't attack the paint because you were going up against 7-footers with 7'5" wingspans. And Bill Self is clearly targeting guys that can guard the 1 through 5, the 1 through 4 is needed, the 2 through 5 is needed, can step out and defend on the perimeter. But the DNA makeup of what he's putting together, KU's not going to get out hustled. They're not going to get, physical. That's not really a word, but outplayed from the physicality standpoint. They're not going to get pushed around the court. They're not going to be slow. Like, this is going to be a fast team the next couple of years. We're going to see it this year with Darren Peterson, of course. Marco Jackson, I think, is going to be speedy, pushing the ball. You've got a lot of athleticism on this group to run and gun. But I think we have the makings of potentially Bill Self's best 2-3 year run, assuming he stays for all that time. Because the recruiting classes he's putting together right now, I'm excited. And I know there's still talk about, well, what about the transfer portal? What if so-and-so goes? And what if, top scoring options out there? Totally get it. I think Bill's seeing the value in, I need to go for a combination of potential and skill set. And the teams that are successful at it are still getting those top tier incoming freshmen.
So my only fear with all of this is, first off, I want to say I love the idea of some youth. I love the idea of getting star freshmen that, if they're good enough, they can do well. I know that we haven't had the best track record of freshmen really excelling at Kansas, and I don't know why that is. And I'm hoping this is a sign that we are turning a new leaf with how we treat freshmen in our system. And, it makes me excited for what we can do in March. The only other thing, though, is feels like to win in March, you need an experienced backcourt. You need seniors and juniors, guys that can shoot. And I don't know if we'll have that if we are relying on all these freshmen coming in. So that's a little bit scary to think about. It's not impossible to win a national title without that, but man, I think for now it's good that we're getting some youth on our team, and not everyone's going to be a one and done. And I think this could be the beginning of getting back to a little bit of like us starting to gel together as a team and not just have a hodgepodge of people coming in all the time that don't even know each other. But
Al, I love this. Just give me as many 5 stars as possible. We'll figure it out.
Dude.
Yeah,
well,
that's a great game plan.
We mentioned it last week on the pod, but it's so this is so weird. And this was just after the signing of Taylon Kinney and no one that followed him. But we were saying, dude, when was the last time that we got a signing of this caliber
this early?
Early on. Like, it's a whole year in advance of when we would naturally expect to get this kind of a name. It's so weird. Kansas is never. I mean, you look at the ESPN top 100 recruits, and you see one or two little KU Jayhawk logos among the top 100, and you're like, man, why is Arkansas getting 8 of the top 30? Why is Duke getting 8 of the top 30? Like, and these have been signed for months and months and months and months and months. Man, Kansas can be that. Kansas can be that. Holy cow. It's like, I don't know. Bill's on something. Bill is on something, and I'm here for it.
And not to be the downer on this, but we have seen the past 2 where a guy like that can sign early and then things happen. LeBaron Philon chooses to go to Alabama, has a heck of a season. Would have been nice to have him. Chris Johnson 2 years ago, same thing. Saw that the playing time wasn't going to be there, leaves. Kenny, the listening to him talk about Kansas and his visit and the way Bill Self has talked with him about his vision for him, he seems like the real deal. He seems like the guy that's going to be here. And he has this fun energy about him that I think is going to help with the recruiting of other guys. Like, other guys are going to be able to see the vision of, man, I've got this fast, athletic guy in the backcourt that plays with energy, plays with the upside, can distribute the ball really well. So I know I'm going to get my touches when I need to. And he can also go and score. I was looking at a bunch of comparisons for Tay Kinney, and this is one of them for sure. Tay Kinney gives me baby Tyrese Maxey vibes with his play style, fast downhill, find the open man finisher. Yeah, 100%.
Love it.
I told these guys I thought Tay Kinney could be a potential combination of as a freshman, junior year Devontae Graham mixed with some sophomore year
Devon
Dotson, the speed, the downhill, and a little bit of Tyshawn Taylor too. He's got the speed, he's got the downhill ability, attack the rim, but he's also got the ability to pull up and shoot like Devontae Graham did, and he's also got the ability to finish like Tyshawn Taylor could. But I also think he's got the defensive tenacity, plus length, gritty, up in your face type defender that Devontae was. And he's really great off the pick and roll like Devon Dotson. So I'm super pumped for Taylor Kinney. Perry, I think, is going to be a similar feel to what we hopefully will see with some East Calderon this year. Excuse me. Long athletic wing that's versatile, that will develop. A guy like what Jamari McDowell could bring, but bigger, taller, longer, faster, more athletic all around, higher ceiling. Davion Atkins is going to be fantastic next year when most likely Flory's gone. Could have Paul Mbia back. I mean, you could get Flory back. The way NIL is now, he could make more money at KU as a junior than he could as a second-round draft pick. So unless he flies up the draft boards, maybe he's back for a junior year. But yeah, you've got the makings. And if Bardwell reclassifies, and what I like about him, unless I apologize if I mix up my recruits here because I've looked at so many names the last 2 weeks. Bardwell, if I'm not mistaken, has hit a growth spurt this last year, and he came up as a point guard, shooting guard type guy, but he's getting taller, longer, and so he's playing a little bit more wing this year. So guy with guard skills playing the wing, the 3, the 4 spot. If he reclassifies at 2026 like we saw with Cole Rosario this year, you can never go wrong having more talented players on the court. Bill Self's the kind of coach that can figure out. So I like the framework, love what I'm seeing. You could have a junior year El Marco next year to give you some of that veteran presence, a sophomore Cole Rosario, Jamari McDowell's presence here, even though he's not going to play much, I think will be an impact. Samis Calderon, if he stays around as a sophomore, could be a big impact for some of that veteran presence. And I'm sure we'll still go get a veteran guard in the transfer portal because I think you'll still need at least one more ball handler with experience, which is kind of what we talked about coming to this season. We needed one more veteran ball handler because you didn't want to rely on El Marco being your backup point guard all season. But like what I'm seeing, for sure. Super pumped with what Bill's doing. We haven't talked about this yet, so maybe we'll talk about this in next week's episode. Just something to think on between now and then. But where we think this class for this year, Darren Peterson, Cole Rosario, Paul Mbia, stacks up against the Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, Wayne Selden, that giant class that we got, but where it kind of stacks up. Because looking at it on paper, I feel like my expectations of this team are actually a little higher than that team was. And I think you could argue that team might have had more talent on paper, but Darren Peterson is such a game changer that I think the impact he will have on this team and this season as a whole will be larger than what Andrew Wiggins had.
Well, Frank Mason was on
something
that
to think
class
about
too. So
yep.
Just saying.
And I guess technically Tarek Black too. But yeah, something to think about for next week of where does this class stand up. Yeah, Louisville exhibition that was announced, I think earlier today or last night, October 24th. So we are 16 days away from that exhibition with Louisville. Again, we're not going to take anything from that game because it's an exhibition, doesn't mean much. But late night next week,
I'll take stuff.
Yeah, you for sure will. We'll talk next week about the season preview of this team and expectations, minutes, rotations, projections, all that kind of stuff. But want to at least spend a few minutes here talking about the continuation of Bill's success in the high school recruiting ranks over the last couple of weeks. And there's still more guys out there that could make some decisions here over the next couple of weeks. Still a lot to look forward to. But yeah, we can always use some more development players to stick around, especially in this day and age of the NIL. Having that continuity year in and year out is so hard to maintain and so undervalued. I think with the transfers that are on this team currently, it makes the expectations higher for this year versus Wiggs. Yep, I think that's part of it too. You have a lot more experience on this roster than you did that 2013, 2014 team. But yeah, we'll talk more about that next week. Austin, JB, any final thoughts on recruiting for now?
Bring on more players, please. I love it. I'm like already ready for like this next season. I don't know.
It is interesting because last year, this time of year, we were so frustrated with the downfall of football midseason that we were all ready to talk basketball. And then the basketball season was so freaking underwhelming and disappointing that the whole last year of KU athletics from football and basketball standpoint sucked. And it just became repetitious. Like every episode we did was the same thing. Hunter Dickinson slow, takes too many plays off. KJ plays the hardest out there, just doesn't have the skill set unless he's the 5-man, and DeJuan just does not fit with that group.
I'm just ready for Darren Peterson to save us.
DP time.
I'm ready to watch some DP.
All I have to say is that I was told last season that, everybody in college basketball can pay their players, so it's not easy for KU to go out there and get all these top recruits. Oh, really? We just did it. Like, Bill Self's not going anywhere. Just because it's a new world of college basketball doesn't mean he's done. So
yeah, I'm a firm believer. Every KU podcast, people have been asking this. I think Bill's got at least 2 more seasons minimum. A lot of people are giving him 1. I don't think that the hiring of Jock Vaughn puts a timestamp on Bill Self's tenure. So unless Bill just loses passion for the game, which I don't know how you could when you're coaching Darren Peterson this year, I still have a minimum 2 more years of Bill Self. And I think it's also more likely that he coaches another 5 plus and wins 2 more national championships. Throwing that out there. Yeah, Ethan Taylor. I know Bob mentioned that. Ethan Taylor's another one. Local kid from around the area. Big, tall, long, lanky, athletic, big man. Would not mind that pairing up with Adkins as well. I don't think Bill's going to get back to the traditional 2 big man, but if he's getting the long, athletic guys, like I think we'll see again. We'll talk about this next week, but I think we'll see some Flory and MB at the same time because of the athleticism. But it'd be nice to do like what Texas and Kentucky and Duke have done over the years and play 2 6'10" to 7 foot guys that are athletic.
Sweet.
Al's last thought here. I think Bill's setting the team up with the future without him, but if his health is good, then it will be. Yeah, I mean, if he feels fine enough to coach, it would just be weird for him to it would feel odd for him. He doesn't strike me as the guy that would just stop for no reason. Now, they said it on the Could Be Wrong podcast last night. I 100% agree with this, that Bill would never announce preseason that, hey, this is my last year. He would never announce midseason, I think I'm going to call it after this. He will just say it. Like, he's not going to do the farewell tour that some coaches do. I don't think he'll pull like a Jay Wright or Bruce Pearl and the season's about to start and I just don't have it in me. Like, I think it would happen within 2 weeks after the final game of the year.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of person he is. But I don't know. A lot of people are in agreement with Al that think Bill's setting up the future this way and giving it all so that he feels confident leaving. I think it's the other side. I think it's a rejuvenated energy to go after star-studded talent and have success on the court. But yeah, he did say he won't coach into his 70s. So I think that's 7 years, give or take a year or 2. So that's why I put it at 5. I put it at 5 years. But all right, we'll wrap up there. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at KCSA Pod. Thank you to the 120 of you that are still lingering around for this. We appreciate that as always. If you're over on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, make sure you come to our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, play the videos in the background. That would help us out a lot. Thank you for those that have been posting in the comment section. We always appreciate that. Again, if you have any questions or things you want us to dive into in our next week's episode of KU Basketball Preseason Talk and Season Preview, send them our way. Send us your favorite lineups, minute projections, favorite games on the schedule, win-loss predictions, all that. We'll try and include it. But yeah, the same time next week, 8:30, we'll go live for KU basketball preview. Next week as well, we'll have a Royals episode will go up on some off-season targets. I have a guest coming on to talk some KU basketball recruiting, just to kind of dive into some of that further. We'll do this, and then hopefully be talking about a fun KU upset over Texas Tech on their homecoming weekend. But that'll do it for this one. We appreciate you guys as always. Let's get the dub this weekend. Rock chalk, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.
Rock chalk.